Buying 500 properties a year sounds crazy because it is, but we're hell-bent on getting there anyway, so we've employed a bunch of new methods into our overall acquisition strategy to help us climb that long ladder, and we're just gonna give you that whole blueprint today. You're gonna see all the pieces of this big acquisitions growth project that we've got in place. So get your pen and pad out, we're gonna go fast, and there's gonna be a lot of quality information. We're gonna kick things off with a giveaway, 25 free copies of the legendary rental property calculator or anything else from the ACE Toolkit store. The coupon code is ROAD to 500, ROADTO 500, all one word, all lowercase. You're gonna use it on our website at checkout. You can get there through the link in bio or this little link floating over my head if you're on YouTube watching this. Or just go to investwithace.com. The 25 go quickly. This video is posted on Instagram, YouTube. It's emailed out to our whole investor list. That's like 50,000 people. So jump on it. And if it doesn't work, all 25 have been redeemed. And you could just spend 45 bucks and get a really good tool that's going to help you analyze rental properties instead. Who would have thunk? It's not good for the Virtual Investors Guide. The course has never been discounted. It is a much more complete blueprint to our whole acquisitions model, our remote out-of-state investing model. If you're interested in that, if you're gonna buy a property out of state, it's probably a worthwhile investment. Guys, it's 595 bucks or 600 bucks or something like that. It will definitely pay itself off as soon as you buy your first property or as you add your next property after you take it, just by taking some nuggets out of it. That's available through our link in bio or our website or this link on YouTube as well. But that's enough plugs. Let's get right into it. So quick forward on our business model so you can understand what we're doing here and what these methods are actually growing for us, what these 500 acquisitions that we're hoping to get to actually look like. We buy relatively stable rental properties out of state in the Midwest and South off market heavily. We bought about 200 last year at a discount from market value, a substantial discount from market value, usually 20 to 30%. Sometimes we get lucky and we get these things for 60, 70% off. And we attach, so we purchase them with our own cash, close, attach a whole service model to it, an acquisition service essentially, that makes them a very easy decision to make that's kind of curated for investors that want to purchase out-of-state properties instead of going to the open market and having to figure out everything with a realtor and dig up all these things that were not disclosed and burn a bunch of deals, right? They get properties with full information and acquisition service from us, and they buy it from us at market value after we purchased it. So we're essentially something between a wholesaler and a flipper. We like to pursue flip margins, but we have a lightweight wholesale style model, except we don't assign things. We actually do buy these properties with our own money. So we're a little different in that aspect. And we did about 200 of those last year. We want to get to 500. That's not going to happen this year. I don't think. That would be crazy if it did. But I think it can happen within 2 to 3 years using some of these methods that I'm going to give you today. So we've had kind of like a four-headed approach to growing our acquisitions engine. We don't have a problem with investors. We have 50,000 investors. We need more properties. And we're gonna do that through four things: seller marketing, so improving our current seller marketing, improving our affiliate relationships, the brokers, the deal hunters, the wholesalers, the bird dogs on the ground bringing us more stuff, improving our acquisitions process here internally, so what happens after we actually get the lead with our sales reps here, and then through some improved pipeline management methods. And I'm gonna give you some bullet points on each one. We're gonna start with number one, seller marketing, right? So we market very heavily directly to sellers. When you go and get the deals yourself, that is where the best deals come from, but it's expensive. Mailing, calling, voicemails, texting. It's laborious and there's a lot to figure out as well. So it takes a good amount of like building your business internally to go out and get these deals yourself. And we already have this engine in place, but we're expanding in a couple areas. And the first thing is the list. And what do I mean by the list? I mean the property owners that we're actually pursuing. And the biggest initiatives we've made is adding new markets to the current list or our previous list. Our previous list was about 32,000 people that we marketed to, right? Sellers, unique sellers. Each one owns multiple properties. Our current list now, after this growth initiative in the beginning of the year, has gone to 90,000. And the types of markets that we're adding in this environment that I think are going to perform best are affordable housing, because we've seen a strong uptrend in the values of affordable housing. We actually haven't really seen much of a downtrend like a lot of other major trendy markets because of the high interest rates. Affordable housing has been strong from a rent perspective and from an investor inflow perspective. Investors are pushing money into higher yield stuff because they want to actually make some cash flow if they have debt. and the asset's relatively undervalued. So we've seen cheaper secondary markets outside of major cities that have strong fundamentals appreciate at a greater pace than the rest of the country. So we've added a whole lot more of those secondaries and tertiaries that don't have a lot of competition either, but have the strong fundamentals in performing properties and good property managers. The next thing we've done outside of expanding the list, so we tripled the list, is worked on the methods that we use to market to that list. And the four methods are direct mail, voicemail, text message marketing or SMS marketing, and cold calling. Those are the vehicles, right? So we have been mailing for a long time, but we have made some tweaks to the messaging on the mail, and we've actually switched over. We've rotated in some postcards into our mailers because we use these nice, like, kind of parchment paper letters for a while, and they convert at a high rate. But when you triple your mail and you're using an expensive mail piece, that budget goes up quite a bit, right? So instead of spending right off the cuff, what's 60 cents times 90,000 letters, right? $54,000 a month, going from $22,000 to $54,000 a month on letters really quickly. We actually are testing it out with some unique postcard campaigns, jumbo, big old postcards that stand out in the mail. We're able to get those for a good bit cheaper, and it's a good way to experiment with new data because you are going to ultimately whittle that list down based on non-performance and just markets that really stand out and shine. And then once we whittle that down, then we can re-employ some of these more expensive, higher touch, higher converting mail pieces, right? On ringless voicemail, we've been ringless voicemailing sellers that are in our database. We have like 30,000 sellers in our database, but we got kind of lazy on the messaging, right? We'd send out the same marketing message over and over once a month. Instead of doing that, we're hitting people every 2 weeks now, so much higher frequency, and I'm crafting a new message every single month. Messaging is so important in any of your marketing, and it's how you outperform other people's marketing. We've added text message marketing. We did it before, we stopped for a little while, we added it back on, we stopped for a little while. Now we found some more compliant ways to do it, so we're making sure that we're not hitting people that are not already in our database that haven't opted in with a bunch of blasts, because that's not legal, it's not allowed. So we've taken a really close look at like case law, at different methods, what actually makes something a blast versus a manual text and makes it permissible. And we've got things dialed in. And we've tried a few different softwares, and honestly, we've teetered between like, the Lead Sherpa, REI Reply, launch controls, and the actually manually using like Google Voice, like VoIP lines and phone lines, and just having a bunch of them and sending out text that ChatGPT generates. And we're trying a little bit of both right now to see which one sticks. The big thing with the texting is keeping your deliverability high, right? If you are within compliance, you could still have your number become ineffective due to deliverability dropping because carriers start marking you as spam. What you're gonna wanna do is make sure your messaging is really high quality, your frequency of the same message, your messages vary a lot, and that the frequency of the messaging you use is not too great. If you start sending things way too often, if you're blasting too many people in too short of a time with a single phone number, and the messages are similar too, not only are you gonna get marked as spam more often, so you're gonna get shut down, but you're actually texting too often. The line is gonna get flagged automatically. Even if these services say you can go on forever and ever, you could send out 300 of the same message per day, they're wrong, your deliverability is gonna drop, and if it drops low enough, your account's gonna get shut down with these softwares, or you're just not gonna get deliverability with your actual phone. So, the best thing you could do is vary your messages, reduce your frequency, spread the messages out over the course of the day, even if it's over 16 hours and you have to do it every hour on the hour or get a VA to do it. And write up a message that elicits responses that also comes across as genuine. When people respond, the quality score of your phone line increases. And also, you'll convert more when you get more people to talk to you, right? So think about asking questions in an early text, not sounding salesy, not sounding spammy, and coming across as a legitimate business. If you are a legitimate business, maybe you need to form one of those first. If you're just like a crappy wholesaler that's gonna just, fish their property around, and you don't actually have buyers lined up, and you're just gonna end up tearing up the contract afterwards, then maybe don't market to people until you have a better business model, honestly. And then the last method is cold calling. And we have cold called before, and the biggest struggle is in virtual assistants, right? The quality, and virtual assistants meaning international virtual assistants. It's really hard to find a virtual assistant in the Philippines and Pakistan and in a lot of other foreign countries that have an accent that are not as familiar with the English language that are going to convert property owners, which is kind of a more conservative class of client that you're selling to, right? So we've actually moved over to hunting for US based employees that are going to do the marketing on the phones. And these people are going to be experienced in real estate and trained, and then the scripting and messaging and the if-thens that we're going to be training them on is going to be much more in-depth as well. If you go listen to your call recordings, if you have a VA, a lot of people avoid listening to the call recordings, they just don't. If you listen to the first couple seconds of calls with people that answer the phone, you could hear the sellers internally cringe and change the way they respond as soon as they could tell that someone in a international call center is calling them to try to spam them with some sort of offer, right? So we moved away from that. That is the biggest initiative, the seller marketing, but there's been some changes on the affiliate relationship side too. That's number two. The biggest thing's funneling. So we used to have just one person that works with all affiliates, wholesalers, brokers, etc., and would just scrape deals off of all these different online marketplaces and then build relationships manually with the people that are bringing those deals from there and try to qualify, find the best people, and just get the good property sent to him. And he's been wildly successful for sure. I think he got like 70 or 80 deals last year using just those methods, but we need to get bigger and better and make his model more repeatable for a long period of time or more sustainable by funneling more effectively. And what do I mean by funneling? We're literally going on every Facebook group that's active about real estate investing in the markets that we operate in. And then every Craigslist page that has a good level of activity in the markets that we're looking to purchase property in. And we're going to be posting on all of those every single day to generate funnels of wholesalers coming to us. We're building basically a seller's list, not just getting on their buyer's list. And we're also finding people on Instagram. We're getting them to come to us as well. We're going back to our old database of folks that at some point have brought us one deal, just even showed us anything, and we're sticking them all in this big nurture pipeline where I have a whole employee dedicated to a lot of this new marketing stuff, right? A new employee, it's a new position we've created. This person's going to be sending out follow-up emails and texts every week to every affiliate in our entire database and growing that database very aggressively every single day. So what we're going to have is this massive pipeline. Right now we have about 400 affiliates. We're going to get it to over 1,000 very quickly here, and we're going to nurture the shit out of them and have them just send deals, control conversations, just bring deals in, qualify very quickly, redirect, and then keep adding to this thing, because this is a numbers game, and there's a lot of people out there who are hunting for properties that might find something but not really have the ability to monetize it afterwards, and we have the ability to help monetize it afterwards. So by the way, if you are a wholesaler and you need help monetizing more deals in your pipeline, clean rental properties, bring them to us. Hit that link in bio. There's like a seller opt-in. Join our affiliate network. But affiliate relationships and more consistent relationship management are going to be very, very key here, and we're excited about it because it's virtually free marketing, right? It's just a person managing it. The third thing we're improving, the third and fourth are pretty simple, so I'll keep them short. The third is acquisitions. We have a good acquisitions process, but we've lost some of the structure in our sales process because our employees are pretty tenured here, and I think taking it back to a 7-step acquisitions process so they know where they're going once they get on the phone with a seller is going to be really important. And I'll tell you all 7 steps. Step 1 is engagement, hooking them, letting them know why we're here. We say, hey, we're the investors that you called a little while ago. We've been talking for a while. We're the ones that want to buy your property, right? Hey, we've got some cash burning a hole in our pocket, and we've been talking about your property for a while. We really want to purchase it. Can we figure out a number? Something like that to say, hey, we're not just some marketer. Hey, can I sell your property? Are you interested in selling? We have money in hand and we really want to buy more property here. And you called us. So there's the hook. That's the first step in the 7-step process. The second is framing the call, telling them, hey, here are the steps we're going to take over the course of this call so you know what we're up to here. The third step is going to be what we call as call 1. It's a financials qualification. We get the numbers because we're rental property investors, rents, key expenses, an asking price. Really got to squeeze the asking price out of them. Then we get off that call and we do step 4, a deal analysis, an underwriting of the property just based on its financials, assuming it's in decent condition. make sure we're in the same ballpark. Then we call them back. If we are in the same ballpark as them, and if we're not, we just kind of adjust the price a little bit, right? We let them know. But if we are in the same ballpark as them, we go through and get what we call a virtual inspection. It's our call to, but it's really detailed tenant and condition information. Once we complete that step, take it back to underwriting, which is basically our daily deal analysis with the team. Take it back to underwriting, make adjustments to the price based on the tenant and condition information. Then we go back to the seller. The sixth step is the offer with justification, an explanation of why the number is what it is, and the number itself presented to them, right? And then after that, step 7 is just following up, right? Whether it's renegotiating, whether it's long-term follow-up, whether it's just getting them to try to sign a contract because they said send it, but they never signed it. That's the 7-step acquisitions process. And we're looking to, I guess, just firm up the structure that's being used by our reps instead of letting them just free float. The more experienced ones will take it and use it as a skeleton for their overall approach. The newer reps that we've brought on, they're going to take this and they're going to basically treat it like a script, or they're going to form a script around it for every single step. And it's going to be effective until they're ready to take the training wheels off. So that is the sales process, and that's the structure kind of that we plan to, with the refresh of the structure, and then the kind of reinforcement of using it that we plan to employ. And then the fourth thing is pipeline management, right? The fourth big upgrade is pipeline management. This is a small and simple one that we could do very quickly. We just have a really big seller pipeline. It is, I think, 30,000 sellers have called into us interested in selling their property over the years. And we have a high conversion rate and a strong ability to monetize properties because of the service we attach to what we do and the strength of our buyers list, the social media platform, the relationships we have with investors, etc. So we need to make sure that we're maximizing use of this pipeline. And a couple things, there's a lot of things we could do about this that we're already doing that we just need to monitor or do better. But a couple things that we're really thinking of right now is enhancing our ability to do volume work within the pipeline. What's volume work? One acquisitions reps has a lead follow-up. So leads that have never converted over to an opportunity because we didn't manage to get the number out of them yet. We don't see that their number is close enough to a number that actually makes us profit, whatever it is. Maybe they never even answer, or they answered once and said, call me back, and we didn't get the full information out of them about the property. One rep has a 600-person lead follow-up section that's active, that they're working in their own name. Getting them on an auto dialer with 3 lines to go through this section allows him to get through these lower conversion or lower engagement leads within an hour every single time. It's going to pump out probably, maybe not an hour. 600 probably takes about 3 hours. So 200 calls an hour is realistic, 150 calls an hour is realistic through these dialers, right? That allows him to get so much more work done because he's only calling for 1 hour, 150 of these per day, right? Over 4 days a week, maybe doesn't touch them on Friday. So you're gonna get way more churn out of the volume sections of the pipeline, the leads that called in that never answered, the long-term follow-ups that never signed a contract, right? So we're adding tools to help with volume work. We're encouraging more volume work in colder sections of pipeline so things don't just sit stagnant because it's not worth the effort. We're making the effort much less. Ringless voicemail, text, like blasting services, these people all came into us, right? So we have relationships with them. And volume cold calling with a dialer are going to help us get through these big kind of cooler sections and turn the soil more often. And the next thing is data quality. When you have a big pipeline, guys, sometimes you're missing information on leads. You just remember it and then you move on to the next. And then a year goes by, 2 years goes by, and market rents skyrocket in the area. And or values go up, or we have new methods of converting things, or a new pool of investors who's looking for something a little bit different. But the information is not current on these properties. We're missing key information. So it's important to go back and refill blanks within your pipeline regularly over time, housekeeping, to make sure that as your ability to acquire or monetize properties changes, you're current on what your true opportunities in your funnel really are. So this was kind of this whole dense technical session. I'll give you a quick recap of the 4 big initiatives, and then you can go back and just watch over it again. Number 1 is seller marketing. That's the biggest one. Number 2 is the affiliate relationships. That's the second biggest. And then the accessory stuff, the things that you just need to kind of make sure you stay good at. The acquisitions process, refirming up our sales process, with our reps so they can make sure they stick to their guns. And then number 4 is just improving pipeline management so we're not wasting good leads that we brought in. If you do these things, you can get your sales business, your acquisitions business, or if you're just a basic wholesaler, from your 5-10 properties a year to 50 to 100. We use these methods like these to get to 200, and making them better is going to get us to 3 and 4 and 5. So study up. I spoke so quickly over the course of this session, but you'll be fine. Just hit the rewatch button and make sure to write things down. Put these in place. Make some money, folks.